I guess, joke or something, just to make the class lively. But one thing that is always common is most of you take this unit as if you think you can't fail it because at times we don't even learn anything new. Okay, we just remind you what you think you already know. It's happened before. People have failed the unit, not once. There are some even who have been told to retake. So you fail the main paper, you fail the supplementary, then you have now to retake the entire unit. So just like any other unit, I request that you be serious with this. For the biology students, I've taught you before, I taught you human health. So at least for you, we've met. My names are Dr. Dennis Misiko Mhongo. I have training in various fields, including biomedical science. I've got a master's in biotechnology and a PhD in evolutionary genetics. So together we'll try to help each other to get knowledge in this area, now using my training as a biomedical scientist. So the unit is mostly about how you need to behave to ensure that you are healthy so that anything else can add. For you to study well, for you to live Kibabi, you need to be healthy, okay? So that you don't waste some of your precious time, which you'll be studying in a hospital when we will have helped you to prevent some of the ways in which you can be sick. So we'll begin with trying to understand the whole concept of health. What is health? Okay, because we are dealing with health challenges. We are dealing with sexually transmitted infections. Then we'll deal with mental health challenges as well. And at some point, we'll deal with most of the lifestyle diseases. Then what most of you begin to experience, either through your dating life, kuyo kusema ati niko na stress. We'll try to see how can you deal with this. Because for sure, mutakuwa na stress. Sababu either mutagongewa ama mutaachwa. So we need to understand how do you deal with such challenges, not if they come, but when they come, because they will surely come. So we begin with trying to understand two key things. One, the word health. When you say you are dealing with someone who is healthy and someone who is not healthy, then what do you mean? At times people think that health just means when someone is not sick. Okay. So health is not just the absence of a disease, but health, you can say someone is healthy when their body, their mind, and even their social life are all functioning together well. So it means health is not just when you don't have a headache, but maybe your mental state, the way you are relating with your roommate is not perfect, then possibly you are not healthy as a person. So the best way to think about health is to imagine a stool yenye iko na miguu tatu. If any of the three legs of the stool is missing or is not very stable, then you cannot use that stool, as it were. So it means for you to be healthy physically, mentally, and socially, all those three components of your life, they should be functioning well. So if any of those three is missing, then you as an individual, you as a person, you are not fully healthy. Because saa ingine, if you have something stressing your mind, hauna homa, haumwi na any part of your body, but you cannot concentrate. So at that particular point, you are not healthy as an individual. When you are not in very good terms, maybe with the landlord or your friend, your classmate, your roommate, it destabilizes the way that you can maximize your performance as an individual. So in such a way then, as a person, you are not fully healthy. Okay. So let's begin with this aspect of physical health, because we said your body. So physical health just means is the health of the body. So it means your body is working normally and it is able to carry out daily activities without any pain, without any illness. So how do you know, for example, that you are in good physical health? The easiest, when your body has normal temperature. So you no fever, nothing. Okay. Then of course the other thing, no ongoing infection, no injury on your body. Another thing, you have good appetite. You can sleep also normally. Then the other thing is when you have enough energy to work or to study. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to study for 2 hours, are you able to sit down and study for the 2 hours? If you are able to do that, then you are actually having good physical health. For any other person, maybe for Bonnie or for myself or any other person who is in this class but works, you are supposed to report to work maybe, now it's 7:30, but usually Bonnie would have reported to work at 8. But because he's able to report to work at the time that the employer requires him to, then he is physically healthy. Because imagine of any of your friends mwenye ako hospitali ama mwenye ako pahali penye hana hiyo uwezo wa kuhudhuria hii darasa. Okay, mostly it's because the health of the body is compromised in a way. So when a student, for example, is free from any of the infections, when a person has all the body organs functioning well, then we can say such a person is physically healthy. On the contrary, when the physical health is poor, then there will be fever, there will be pain, there will be weakness within your body. There could be chronic diseases, things like high blood pressure, things like diabetes. Then possibly, if your immune system is compromised, then you now have the frequent infections. Okay. So when dealing with the whole concept of health, it means your mind, your body, your social life should be good. But even if your mind and your social life are good, but your physical health is poor, then your overall health will most likely be affected. Because even if you're not undergoing any stress, you are in good terms or good way in which you are relating with your parents, with your friends, but you have a broken leg. Okay, so the broken leg is about your physical health, but you don't have anything stressing your mind. You don't have anything stressing your relationship with either your girlfriend, your parent, your brothers. But your broken leg, your broken hand will make it difficult for you to do what you are supposed to do as a what? As an individual. There are people who still have their hands carried up. So I don't know if they should say whatever they want to say before we continue. If you want to say whatever you have, please say your type, because I'm seeing those notifications that your hands are raised up. A Technospark 40. You've raised your hand. Whatever it is, type it, type it. So what is it that can now help you to maintain your physical health as a person? What is it that you need to do? One is proper nutrition. So you need to eat foods that provide all the important nutrients. What most people confuse is when you are talking of proper nutrition, it does not need to be expensive. Okay, so you don't need a lot of money to eat, for example, a balanced diet. Because when you eat food, when you have your diet balanced, then your body gets all the important nutrients that it needs so as to function normally. So for a balanced diet, it just means you eat the right amounts of all the nutrients. Okay. So when you, for example, have a meal with the carbohydrates, those ones will give you energy. Proteins, they help in building and repair of your body tissues. Fats, they help in storing energy and also in the protection of other body organs. Vitamins and minerals, they help to support some of the most vital body functions. You also need to ensure that you take enough amount of water because water helps in maintaining your hydration levels, and also most of the biological processes within your body require an aqueous environment for them to take place. So if your body is too dehydrated, then most of those processes cannot actually happen because there's not enough hydration levels for them to occur. The other thing you need to do is to have regular physical activity. Fanya mazoezi kidogo. And at times, you don't even need to register for a gym. Just walk, run, okay? Cycle, kama uko na baiskeli. Participate in sports activities in the university. You might not be the best footballer or the best athlete, but jioni, unaweza enda hapo kwa uwanja ukimbie tu. Okay? Or instead of kupanda pikipiki kutoka kwa penye unaishi ukikuja university, make it a habit of just walking. But sio kutembea ya polepole, ni kutembea ya haraka so that you can burn some calories. So when you do the regular physical exercise, it helps to strengthen the heart muscles, bones. It also helps in improving blood circulation. And what is most important, it reduces the risk levels for you to develop some diseases. The other important thing that you need for physical health is sleep. Okay. So you don't sleep like all the time. Some of you sleep up to 11. You slept at 9 yesterday, you'll wake up at noon today. Okay. That is overdoing it. But sleep allows your body to rest. It helps your body to repair tissues because as you do your normal duties, your normal activities during the day, there is a lot of wear and tear of your body parts. Okay. So some of those cells, they need to be repaired. That can only happen upon sleep. Sleep also helps in the storage of memory. Okay. So when you are studying, ukisoma, you need to remember what you read, what you discussed, what you studied yesterday. The best way is you must have enough amount of sleep so that it can help to boost your memory, ndio uweze kukumbuka ile vitu umesoma. As adults, you need between 7 and 9 hours of daily sleep. But of course, as we know, babies need more. So when you sleep just for 6 to 9 hours, okay, that is enough for your body. That is enough for your body. Another thing you need to do is hygiene. You need to ensure that your body is clean, because when you keep your body clean, you reduce the chances for your body to be infected. To do that, for example, unaoga, brush your teeth, washing your hands after visiting the toilet, before eating, keeping your clothes clean. So hiyo inabidi utafute sabuni, utafute maji, uoshe. At that point, utapata kuna wasichana, saa hii umekuja we ndio sasa umeoleka. Okay. So you are helping your university husband kuosha nguo so that akuwe ako sawa. At your age, it's difficult to say kwamba don't do what you are doing, but ensure that what you do does not compromise your main intention, your main goal when you came to the university. So date as much as you can, but do it safely. We'll see ways in which you can do it safely. For now, avoid being the slave wa nyumba. We ndio unaosha nguo, we ndio unafanya then at the end of it, it affects chances zako kuattend classes, kufanya homework, kufanya assignment. But jamaa atakuacha tu. Ukifika third year, fourth year, you've wasted your time, anakuacha, anaenda anapata mtu mwingine. So dating is not wrong, but ensure that it does not compromise your focus. Ile kitu ilikuleta kibabi. I'm sure your parents are not paying fees for you to be somebody's girlfriend. So the other thing, this is important at your age, avoid harmful substances. Avoid harmful substances. Most of you take alcohol. It might be difficult to say stop, but just reduce the amount. Okay, make alcohol a social drink. So just reduce the amount of alcohol that you take. And also ask yourself, when should you take alcohol? Why should you drink on a Monday? Okay, you can possibly drink on a Friday evening because on Saturday you don't have maybe a class. Okay, there are some of you who came from home, you're not even drinking alcohol, but now ndio mnakunywa kukunywa. Okay, there are some of you who even use drugs, bangi, mnavuta sigara, mnafanya nini. All those things will end up affecting the function of your body. So when you reduce alcohol, you avoid smoking, you avoid some of those dangerous drugs, then you are just protecting some very vital organs on your body. Okay. For smoking, there's what we call active smoking and passive smoking. When you live with a roommate who smokes but you don't smoke yourself, aamuke saa sita ya usiku aanze kuvuta sigara na wewe uko kwa nyumba, hiyo moshi wewe pia you are inhaling it, so you are smoking but passively. Wewe ni msichana, you are dating a man who smokes. Okay, so whenever that person smokes, you also inhale the smoke, but it is not you. You always say, I don't smoke, but you are present in whenever someone is smoking, you are there. Some of you go to a bar, watu huko ndani wanavuta sigara kabisa, na we mwenyewe hauvuti. Unasema mimi huwa sivuti sigara. But as these people are puffing, you are inhaling the smoke. Okay. So we'll see how to go about such challenges, but reduce alcohol and avoid. Okay. Avoid smoking, avoid use of all those drugs that can endanger the health of your body. Then the sixth thing is seeking medical attention. You need to visit health facilities for checkup, for treatment, and for vaccination. For checkup, so that you know whether you have a certain infection or not. For treatment, when you've confirmed that you have this infection, then it needs to be treated. For vaccination, to vaccinate is to protect. Okay. So for vaccination, so that you can be protected against. For most of you ladies, labda mmesikia kwamba kuna hiyo shindano ambayo inasaidia kupata cancer. Okay. The HPV. So if you went for that, it will help so that you don't get the HPV infection. You don't get the cervical cancer. So ensure that you visit health facilities. Go for checkup just to know whether you have this infection, you have that infection or not. Go for checkup your blood pressure. Go for checkup your sugar levels. Then if any of those diseases is confirmed kwamba uko nayo, seek treatment. Okay? Then if you are lucky that you are not infected, but you realize that there is a way in which you can prevent yourself from being infected through vaccination, go and be vaccinated. So there are various factors that influence physical health. One is genetics. So there are some conditions that run in families. Unaweza pata kuna familia wako na ugonjwa ya sukari, wako na high blood pressure, wako na ugonjwa fulani. It runs in the family. So it means possibly that family has genes that makes them to be predisposed. Wanaweza pata hiyo ugonjwa rahisi. Another thing is environment. Pahali penye unaishi. The level of pollution. If you have access, for example, to clean water, the level of sanitation, pahali penye unaishi hapo, in the environment penye unaishi, that also influences health. Another thing is the choices you have for your lifestyle. The diet you choose. If you exercise or not, if you use substances, you abuse, you use drugs, you smoke. Okay, that's a choice. Umeamua kuishi maisha yako hivyo. And in a way that will also impact the health of your body. That is physical health now. The other thing is the access to healthcare. Various things will affect whether you are able to go to hospital or not. One is if the hospital or the healthcare facility is available. That is one. So availability of the healthcare facility. Then two, cost. Hospitali inaweza kuwa iko hapo, lakini hauna pesa yenye utalipa wapi? Kwa hospitali. Then another thing is just not enough for you to go to hospital, but it is more important that after you've gone to hospital, ukiambiwa dawa either upewe ama ukiambiwa enda ununue, uende ununue. So also the availability of the drugs and the personnel, because hospitali inaweza kuwa iko hapo, unaenda kwa hospitali unapata wale wenye wanatakana kukuhudumia hawako, na mara mingi hata kama wako labda hakuna dawa. Okay. So it's about the availability of the healthcare facility, the cost, the availability of the personnel, and also the availability of the drugs, the medicine that you need in that particular place. So the next aspect of health is mental health, which is now the health of the mind. So when you look at mental health, you are just talking of the ability of an individual to think clearly, to feel emotionally balanced, and to cope with daily stress. So you have to think clearly. Emotionally, you need to feel balanced. Then the word is you have to cope with daily stress, not to avoid, meaning when you have to cope with something, it means that thing will be there. So stress will come somehow, but you need to have that ability to deal with that stress, to confront it in a positive way. And because you have that ability to think clearly, you will end up with a very good solution out of whatever it is that is stressing you. The signs of an individual who has good mental health. One is when that person has the ability to think clearly and to concentrate on something. There are people akisema anaenda kwa library kusoma in 30 minutes, 20 minutes, concentration span yake imefanya namna gani? Imeisha. Okay. Such a person, possibly there is something that is bothering them because you don't have good concentration on whatever you are trying to put your mind to. Another sign of having good mental health is when you have the ability to handle stress and challenges. So when you are stressed, are you able to seek help out of, so that you get yourself out of whatever is stressing you? Or you are the person who will say, sababu ya hii, wacha niende nikunywe, ama niende nijinyonge, ama ni commit suicide. Okay? So it will mean that mentally, as a person, you are not healthy. There are people who are not stable emotionally. Okay? Mtu mnaweza kuwa mnaongea mnacheka, and then the next minute amebadilika. So the inability to have emotional stability, that inability, mtu mwenye you cannot laugh, then when you crack another joke anakuweka coffee. Unaona? So that inability to have emotional stability, hiyo most of the time inaonyesha kwamba that person is not having good mental health. Then there is another very important sign. When someone does not have positive self-esteem. Okay. So you need to have positive self-esteem towards yourself as an individual. Think positively, rate yourself highly. Sio kujihurumia. Well, you could be struggling, huna the best phone, you don't dress even in the best way, but step out and look at yourself as someone who has a future. Sio kujihurumia, ukiona watu wamevaa vizuri unasema hey, ningekuwa kama huyo. So you put yourself lower, you rate yourself lower compared to other people. That is usually a sign kwamba your mental health is not as good as it should be. Okay. So a student who is mentally healthy is able to focus in class, is able to prepare for exams, is able to go and sit for those exams and pass. If someone can manage stress without being overwhelmed, then that person has good mental health. But when an individual has his or her mental health being poor, then they will show levels of anxiety, they will show depression, there will be display of extreme levels of stress. They'll mostly portray confusion and the inability to concentrate on tasks. At times, many people will now opt to begin abusing substances. Taanza kukunywa pombe, kitu kidogo akiona kitu inamsumbua, anaenda kunywa pombe. So most of these people who are heavy drinkers, even heavy smokers, the people who even use or abuse bang, most of them is just a sign that there is an issue with their mental health. Okay. So someone can look physically healthy, but such a person, even if physically they are healthy, no injury on the body, their body does not have any ill functioning. But if they are disturbed in their mind, then such an individual will still be unhealthy. So for mental health, there are some very important parts. One is cognitive functioning. So this aspect of cognitive functioning just means how well the brain performs some tasks. How well does an individual think? Are they able to memorize? Are they able to learn? And are they able to pay attention? Okay. The second important part of mental health is resilience. Resilience. Resilience is just the ability to bounce back from stress, from failure, or any challenge. You will encounter stress, you will encounter challenges. Okay, mtihani itakuwa ngumu, maybe mulimaliza first semester and it didn't look like umefanya vizuri. Those are challenges. So are you still worried that you didn't do a particular unit vizuri in your first semester? That up to now you can't even concentrate for your second semester? Then it just means you are not resilient. And that will show that you have an issue with your mental health. The third important part of mental health is how you are able to manage stress. Okay, so stress management. With stress management, you are just referring to the techniques that you deploy so that they can help you to reduce the tension levels. Okay, when something is stressing you, what do you do so that whatever it is that is bothering you cannot take you down? There are some people, for example, who will recommend deep breathing. going for exercise, talking to others. You have a friend, you have a counselor that you can go talk to. Others, they will just, wataona hii kitu inanisumbua, wacha tu niende nilale, let me just rest. Then if, for example, whatever is stressing you is about your inability to do what you are supposed to do when you are required to do it, then you can come up with a way to manage your time. Okay? Because class imeanza saa hii karibu saa 2 na mwingine labda hajaingia kwa class. So it just means you have to find a way, ensure you sleep early so that you can wake up early and do whatever you are supposed to do. So with stress management, it's just about which technique can you employ ili iweze kupunguza zile changamoto ambazo unapitia. Then the other component is self-esteem, which just refers how much value and confidence an individual has in themselves. Okay. So how do you hold yourself? How do you perceive yourself as an individual? If they were to offer positions na uambiwe upewe, utasema hapana, sio mimi, pea fulani, ama utasema ndio, nipatie, mimi naweza. Okay. Because there are some of you hata wakisema they want a representative of first years, for example, in the student council, na waseme ni wewe, utasema hapana, sio mimi, pea fulani, because yeye anaongea vizuri kuniliko, anafanya kitu fulani. Okay. So you need to look at yourself positively, have confidence in yourself as an individual. Okay, that is positive self-esteem. Usikuwa unajiangalia, unajihurumia, irrespective of your background. Okay, irrespective of your background. So some of the common mental health problems include what you guys normally say, stress. Okay, stress. So when you are stressed, it just means you are feeling overwhelmed. You are feeling overwhelmed. There could be something that makes you feel overwhelmed. That is the cause or the source of your stress. Another problem is anxiety, when either you are fearing too much, you are worrying too much. That is anxiety. Then another common problem associated with mental health is depression, which is constant sadness and loss of interest in activities. Okay, so maybe you have a friend whom you used to go out and watch football with. Then all of a sudden, even when you crack jokes about football, that person is never interested. Whenever there is a match, you tell them, mwende muangalie, hataki. It could be an indication that that person is undergoing depression. So how do you maintain mental health? One of the things you need to talk to supportive people. Talk to supportive people. Supportive people, these are people that you need to know by yourself, possibly your parent, because these are people who are ready to support you, who are ready to see to it that you get the best out of yourself. There could be friends that you might want to talk to, but you realize they don't necessarily mean well. Uko na shida, anakuambia tuende tukunywe, ama wewe ni msichana, uko na shida, anakuambia kuja tulale na wewe ndio nikusaidie. Those are people who are not, because they want to use you. They want to mislead you. Okay? So when you want to maintain mental health, you don't just talk to anybody, but you talk to supportive people. In the university, there are counselors in the office of, through the office of the Dean of Students. Okay, if you're undergoing a challenge, You visit the dean of students, they help you get support so that you overcome whatever challenge that is bothering you. Another thing you need to do is you take breaks during your work or study. That's why lectures hazifuatani tu, unatoka saa moja unaingia saa tano unaingia kwa ingine. Pana, there should be breaks. You can go for 2 lectures, there is a break, just so that you can, you can rewind, you can refill, you can go and talk to a friend, you can go and even have tea. Another thing, you need to practice relaxation exercise, whatever it is that relaxes your mind. Kuna wale wanapenda kuenda kucheza mpira, kuna wale wanapenda kutembea tu. Okay, so get something that helps you to relax. The other thing you also need to do is you have to stay physically active. Okay? We said one of the things zenye zitasaidia ukue healthy, enda ufanye mazoezi. Okay? Then, when you need help from professionals, you seek out, uongea na wao. Maybe you have a challenge in a career, you have a challenge in a particular unit. Tafuta lecturer ama tafuta student mwenye ako mbele yako, umuulize how did you deal with this unit, naona inani challenge kidogo. Okay? You are undergoing some challenge yenye unataka uongeleshwe na mtu. You need a professional who is a counselor. So you go for counseling. Okay? You are not sure maybe of your career path na bado uko first year. In the university, you can go talk to your chair of department, or you reach out to any of your lecturers and ask them kwamba nafanya hii course na sielewi inanipeleka wapi. Can you help me to know, for example, the career prospects za uko mbele? They'll help you because they are professionals in that area. What about social health? Social health, which at your age is even more important, refers to the health of relationships. So social health just refers to how well a person interacts with family, friends, and the community. Okay. So within the university, you have friends. Within the university, you live within a community. So how well do you interact with people within your class, people in your hostel, even people in your, kama unatoka kwa county fulani na wako na hiyo association ya hiyo county, how well do you interact with those people? Okay. So signs that an individual has good social health ni kwamba atakuwa na good communication skills. Then such a person will also have supportive relationships. Supportive relationships. So they don't just have relationships, but they have supportive relationships. Most of you could be having boyfriends and girlfriends. So when you're in a relationship that is supportive, your boyfriend could call, akuulize umesomea kati ya kesho, ama umeenda class, ama umemaliza hiyo assignment. Okay? Ama ulisema hauna pesa ya lunch, ulipata, ama nikutumie support. Okay? Sio ule tu anakuuliza utakuja saa ngapi. Okay? Supportive relationships, again, mainly they will come from family and friends who mean well for you. Okay, so some of you possibly utaona anasema hata mimi babangu akipiga simu huwa sishiki, tulikosana. Okay, so that could show that there is a problem with the social health of that individual, because it is your mother, it is your brother, it is your father who should support you, But if you are not relating with them well, then surely it means the health of your relationship is not good. The other aspect is the sense of belonging. Okay. Sense of belonging. First of all, you come from a family, then you come from a community. So some of you possibly unaweza pata mtu, for example, is a Bukusu, but when other people speak Kibukusu anasema hiyo mimi sijui, huwa sisikii. Okay, so there are some people who don't want to associate with wherever they come from. I understand kwamba kuna wengine it could be because of a painful history. That is understandable. But for others, it's mostly just because of their way in which their relationships are with where they are coming from. So that could show mtu mwenye haelewani na wazazi wake, haelewani na ndugu zake wote. Kuna uwezekano ukosane na ndugu yako mmoja, lakini huwezi kosana na wote. Kuna uwezekano ukosane na watu wawili watatu kwa your class, but it cannot be that every person in your class ni wabaya, ni wewe tu ndio mzuri. Okay. Then the last bit is the ability to work with others. Kuna watu wengine wakipeana group work, ukienda kwa hii group wanasema hapana, sisi hatutaki John. Ukienda kwa wengine wanasema hapana. Ukiingia tu kwa group kila mtu anahama. Okay? So it's not kwamba hao watu wengine wote ni wabaya, wewe ndio mzuri. It just shows the way that you relate with other people, the way that you interact with other people has a problem. So ni wewe sasa ukae chini ujiulize kwamba shida iko wapi. So as a student, if you have good relationships with your classmates, with your lecturers, then you are socially healthy. As a person, you need to receive support from your friends, from your family, from the community, whenever you are undergoing any challenge. Okay. Ile wanaita social capital. Maybe kwa darasa yenyu mtu anapoteza mzazi, watu wengine wanachanga, wewe uchangi. Okay. Next time pia kunakuwa na challenge, wanasema tuchange, watu wanachanga, wewe uchangi. So the way in which wewe pia ikifika wakati yako pia watu hawatafanya namna gani? Hawatakuchangia. Okay? So you have to interact, you have to relate with the people vizuri. So when the social health is poor, then there is social isolation. Kuna watu hana rafiki, anakuja class, akimaliza ameenda. Hata kuishi, kama anaishi nje ya university, haizi kaa na roommate, anakaa tu peke yake. Okay. Because akipata roommate asubuhi, by saa 7 wamekosana. Okay. Then there are components, aspects of loneliness. It mostly shows that the social health of such an individual is poor. Conflict, either with your family, with your classmates, with people that you live with in the same hostel. If you go for any meeting, hata kwa CU ama Catholic ama SDA ama hii ya war, amuelewani na watu. Wewe ukifika, the conflict after conflict. Okay? Then at times there could be discrimination or even stigma. That is a sign when you discriminate people, when you want to stigmatize others, just shows that your social health as an individual is poor. So we know, for example, that humans, as human beings, we are social beings. We socialize. So if there is lack of social support, if you are not supported by your family, you're not supported by your friend, then your mental and physical health will be affected. Okay. So you need that social support. When you are sick, you need a friend to call. You need someone to visit in hospital. Imagine umekuwa admitted, umekaa wiki mbili kwa hapo St. Anthony na hakuna mtu amekutembelea. It just means kwamba the way in which you interact with people is poor. So the three parts of health affect each other. When you have poor physical health, it can lead to stress and depression. When you have poor mental health, it will lead to headaches. It will lead to ulcers. Mtu uko na ulcers sababu ulikuwa na kitu inakusumbua. Okay? When you have poor social health, leads to loneliness and mental illness. Okay? So, for example, a person with a chronic disease will have physically health yake itasumbukana sababu atakuwa na pain, atakuwa na weakness za mwili. Mtu ako na cancer, mtu ako na diabetes, atakuwa na hizo shida. Then mentally, now the mental health ya huyo mtu atakuwa na wasiwasi, and so that person will be worried. That person will likely be depressed. Then when such people usually have these chronic diseases, they can easily be isolated due to stigma. Okay. So that shows you how the three aspects of health are conjoined. Okay. So we've looked at health. The next thing we need to do is to look at public health. But why is what we've discussed important in public health? So public health is made up of two words, public and health. Okay. So it means when you are talking about public health, then is you are referring or you are thinking more about the health of the general public. Si ya mtu mmoja, but ya watu wengi. So the programs zenye zinahusika na hiyo afya ya watu wengi, mostly they will aim to improve physical health. Where wataanza kusema you need to be vaccinated, they'll begin talking about using clean water. Okay? They want to improve physical health. Equally, kutakuwa na program zenye zinaanza kusupport mambo ya mental health. Wataanza kuongelesha watu, kutakuwa na mipango ya kuongelesha watu mambo ya stress management, counseling services. Okay? Because now they are dealing with the mental health aspects. If they don't teach you how to manage your stress, then your mental health will not be guaranteed. If you are not counseled when you have a challenge, then mentally you will not be healthy. The last bit, which most of the public health programs will aim to do, is to strengthen social health. So they will come up with ways in which they can enhance support within the community. They'll come up with ways in which they can reduce stigma. Kwa mfano, mtu akiwa na any challenge, maybe ni HIV ama unaambiwa kwamba let's not discriminate. Okay? Let's reduce stigma. Usiongee vibaya kuhusu huyo mtu. Okay? So in a way, when we look at public health next, we'll just be looking at how do we improve physical health, how do we support mental health, and how do we strengthen social health. The example we can give is for HIV programs. These programs will not only provide medicine or the ARVs, but they will also offer counseling. That is dealing with the mental health, because with counseling, you talk to a person. dealing with their mental health. Such programs will also help to fight stigma. Naambiwa mtu akiwa na hii ugonjwa ni binadamu tu kama mtu mwingine. You are trying to fight stigma to ensure that people continue to interact well with others. So dealing with social health. So in summary, health is more than just the absence of disease. And health has three parts: physical health, mental health, and social health. All those three parts, they must be present for full health to be realized. When one of these parts is lost, then the health of that particular individual will be affected. So when you are called upon to define health, then you can define it as a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. So you are in a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. But it is not just the mere absence of disease. Okay. I'll stop there and ask if there is a question. I've seen people carry up their hands. So if there is a question, unmute and type. Unmute and talk, or type in the chat and I'll answer. Okay, so I'm muting myself. Okay, there are people who are carrying up their hands. If you can unmute yourself and talk, please do. If you can unmute yourself and talk, please do. Most of you are saying the lesson has gone on well. I'm grateful for that. There's someone who's asked the lack of education. So to be educated is to be given knowledge. Okay, so you are able to know about anything. So once you are enlightened, once you are made knowledgeable, then you will know what that particular thing that you've been educated upon, what it is, what the challenges are, what the benefits are, so that when you make a decision that we call an informed decision. Okay, so what we are doing is we are just trying to make you knowledgeable. We will not be there to tell you don't do this, but we try to educate you, and hopefully to the point that now you want to make a decision, we hope that you make a decision on the basis of the knowledge that we've given you. So if you choose to risk, for example, to go around sleeping with people without protection, for example, then we hope that you will be knowing the risks that are associated with that. Okay, so the whole concept of education is just to help you understand the risk, the benefits, and how to get the benefits and avoid the risks. Okay. People are asking about notes. Don't worry, we'll see what to do with the notes. So for now, relax. na upate ile unapata. Notes tutaona venye tutashughulikia. If you can unmute yourselves and ask or type in the chat, I'll be responding. I need to finish the class by 8:30. Being the first class, I don't want to go for a long time. So I'll mute myself, go in the chats and check.
Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc.
Yes, Bonnie.
Yeah, I'm just trying to check. Those who are asking for the notes, they'll get the notes on the LMS. They should go to the LMS and enroll themselves to KUC 1230. Then you will find the notes there. And then we can unmute one or two. Someone is asking, can loneliness cause stress, Daktari? And how does mental health affect the society?
How does mental can loneliness cause stress? Maybe stress can cause loneliness. Okay. Um, when are you lonely, or how do we define loneliness? Okay. So we talked about three aspects of health: physical, mental, and social. Social is about how you interact with the people. Because huwezi ishi kama peke yako. You need to have a friend. You need your family. You need lecturers. You need even the soldiers kwa gate to ensure kwamba ni wanafunzi wanaingia na mtu mwingine hataingia to endanger your life. So it means as an individual, you cannot live your life as a person. You are not an island. Lazima utahitaji mama mboga, utahitaji boda ukienda town. Okay? So utahitaji mtu. So if it means that you are now not able to interact with other people vizuri, then hautaweza kukuwa na rafiki. Hata boda akikubeba by the time ufike Cardinal mmeshakosana. Unashuka. So you end up now living a life yenye ni wewe tu peke yako. Ndio unafikiria kwamba unaweza ukafanya vitu zenye zinatakikana ama zenye zinaenda mbele. So you end up now being confined to solitudeness. Peke yako, unabaki peke yako because you cannot keep a relationship. Ukienda hapo kwa mama mboga ukimwambia nipatie mboga, akisema nakata, unasema kwani mnaanza kugombana. So that thing, because you are just peke yako, you end up now not having even someone wa kudiscuss na yeye swali, kwa mfano. Ama kama umekosa, you've missed a lesson, you don't even have someone that you can get notes from. Ama kuuliza mtu kama haukusikia siku ya cat, hakuna venye utajua cat ni lini, sababu you don't have a friend. How did you not be able to have a friend? Because your social health, the way in which you interact with the people is not proper. So you cannot keep a relationship with a friend, with a classmate, with a hostel mate. Sasa hiyo inaanza kukuletea stress because unless you are there, then something cannot happen. There are people akiwa nyumbani ako na marafiki, atasema nifanyie kitu fulani, watafanya. Lakini kama hauna rafiki, nguo yako itanyeshewa tu ukiwa kwa class. Umeanika nguo lakini huwezi pigia mtu akuanulie sababu hauna rafiki. Okay? There is a story yenye ilisemekana kwamba kuna watu walikuwa hawaongeleshani kwa nyumba. Walikuwa hawaongeleshani kwa nyumba, then mmoja wao alitakana kupanda ndege the following day aende wherever alikuwa anatakana kwenda. So akaambia mwingine, tafadhali uniamshe kesho saa 11 ili nipande ndege niende. Huyo mwingine hakumuamsha, lakini aliandika tu karatasi na akaweka kando ya kitanda chake kwamba ni saa 11 amuka, because hawaongeleshani. You see, so such a person venye aliamuka baadaye lazima alikuwa stressed. Na mbona hiyo stress ilitokea? Sababu hakuongeleshwa, hakuambiwa amuka, hakutingishwa amke. So it is because of the way, the inability of that person to interact socially in a healthy way na the roommate, na hiyo lazima ilimletea stress. So it's true, loneliness inaleta stress sababu hauwezi jifanyia kila kitu, unahitaji usaidiwe. Ukianika nguo, uko class, mvua inanyesha, itanyeshea tu sababu huna mtu mwenye utapigia simu akuanulie. Kama mtihani ama kati iko, wanaona na nani hayuko, hakuna mwenye atakupigia simu because you don't have a friend. You are always on your own. So because you are not interacting with these people well, you end up being lonely. And as a result of the loneliness, you end up now being stressed because you need one person. You need your neighbor, you need your friend to support you. Okay? Bonnie, is there any other?
Yes, Doc, I'm checking on YouTube. The attendance is a bit low. On YouTube, I'm just having around 430. That means cumulatively we are having 1,500 out of 3,400. Please tell your colleagues to be getting into class. Wakati ule kitaumana, don't run helter-skelter. Although from YouTube, I'm seeing the lesson has been interesting. That is, this is who? Scholastica Jemtai. Jonathan Locapello saying ikiendelea hivi sipati soup. So I think on YouTube, there's a lot of compliments, Doc. That,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
someone
you.
is saying this is the best lecturer ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think kiendelea hivi kuko sawa. Those who are asking for attendance, don't worry. We have to check on the numbers to see. To see how we can be proceeding with the attendance. So don't worry. Someone says allow us to unmute. I'm unmuting while ameweka mkono juu. And please communicate. Usianze story mingi. Straight to the point. You are more than 1,000. We can't allow all of you to speak. TechnoSpark 40. Unmute yourself. That one is not unmuting. Let me check for another one. As that one unmute, Doc.
Yes.
And also just part of the house rules, please, when you are logging in, have your camera off. Wengine mnaacha kamera zikiwa on ndio unaamuka tusuruari tuko pale nyuma ya nini. We don't want that, please. Have your cameras off. Let me just check who else can unmute. EDA 0708, unmute. Samsung SM, unmute. I'm clicking. When you just find a message popping on your phone, you unmute. Collins Angolo, unmute. Odhiambo Eric, unmute. No one is unmuting, so tutapita hivyo. Yes, Odhiambo, you are unmuted.
So I have a question here. So
Yes.
in a situation passing through the three health challenges. So social health challenge, mental, and also physical. So how can that person go about the three challenges at once?
Okay.
Okay, another one to ask. Yo, daktari amechukua. Joseph Luther, unmute. EDA stroke 0708, you are unmuted. Ask your question.
So hello, Doc.
Hello.
I would like that. How does sex reduce stress?
Yeah. Hao sasa. Hao wanafikiria sex sana. But you are in the right class. You are in the right class.
Yeah.
Osike Emmanuel, unmute. Samsung, someone is unmuted. Global, M-Kopa.
Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Innocent here. I have a question.
Yes.
Is health a human right or a personal responsibility?
Okay. Bonnie, maybe I
There's
deal
the
with
last
the...
one.
Okay,
Doc,
okay.
Yeah.
there
Yes,
was
yes.
Emmanuel alikuwa ameanza kuongea, walianza kuongea wawili. Wacha aulize hiyo alafu you can respond.
Yeah,
Okay.
hello doc. Mosik Emmanuel.
Yes.
Maybe ukikula una sweat sana, ukifanya kazi kidogo una sweat sana. Hiyo ni good health ama hiyo ni unhealthy?
Okay. Haya, nitaanza na gani? Nitaanza na ya kwanza. Ya kwanza ilikuwa kwamba you have shida physically, mentally na socially. So how do you deal with it? You realize ukiwa na shida physically unasaidiwa hospitali because umevunjika mguu, kitu imekuuma mkono, utaenda hospitali. Ukiwa na shida mentally na socially utatafuta counselor. Okay? So you will have to seek help but from different professionals. Okay? You have to seek help but from different professionals. Mostly huwa unaona unaamka uko na headache. You go to hospital, wanacheck. Mara mingi watu watasema wameniambia ati hakuna ugonjwa. It means in the hospital ukiwa na shida ya mental ama unasumbuliwa na girlfriend, hata wapime damu, wachukue damu yako yote wapime, hawataona hiyo challenge. Okay? So you go to hospital, they rule out any infection. Yet you still have a persistent headache. Okay? Then now you will be referred, for example, for counseling because wanaona huyu mtu shida yake is not physical. And that's why at times they try to ask, utajaribu kuulizwa na huyo mwenye anakutibu, so that they try to establish the cause. So ile usaidizi utapata itatokana na the source of your challenge. So utapata kwamba shida uko nayo is how you relate with friends. You cannot give, hakuna dawa ya hiyo utameza mara 2 kwa siku na uweze kuelewana na rafiki zako. Umewachwa na girlfriend, hata upewe panado, kichwa itaendelea kuuma tu kila siku. Utameza panado, unamaliza inauma tena, unamaliza inauma tena. So the only way to deal with that is kwenda kutafuta help, uongeleshwe, uambiwe these things happen. So kubali, songa mbele hivi, songa mbele hivi. So the various health challenges have recourse but inapatikana from different places. So kitu ya maana ni kugundua kwamba uko na challenge, then you have to seek help. So accepting is the first step. The second, kuna ule alisema is sex, how it releases, alisema sijui stress ama namna gani. The truth is it doesn't. Okay. The truth is it does not. In any case, it might even add more stress. Okay. Why? Because you end up now, after umemaliza ndio unaona, oh, kumbe alikuwa tu ananitumia. You are a lady, you've got an intimate on a Friday because umenunuliwa nyama. Saturday ukienda kwa huyo mtu unapata ako na mwingine. So was this act of sex the previous day an antidote to your stress ama imeongeza stress? What is important is sex should be a culmination of love. Okay? Not an expression of love. Is a culmination of love. Yani mupendane hadi. Si ati mukipendana ndiyo mufanye, hapana. We'll see when we begin now talking about HIV, how to practice safe sex. So. But what is important is sex cannot relieve stress. Mostly, it can even cause stress. So kumbuka kwamba sex should be a culmination of love, but not an expression of love. Ingine ilikuwa kwamba ukikula una sweat, ukifanya kazi kidogo una sweat, wewe ni mgonjwa ama hapana? Sweating, well, I'm a biologist. So sweating is a way is a homeostatic mechanism. Okay. Mnakumbuka homeostasis? Nafikiri mlifunzwa high school. Trying to maintain a constant internal environment. Ukisweat, unapoteza joto. That's why una sweat when it is hot. Okay. So at times, when you sweat too much, it's possible that you have an issue with what we call the hypothalamus. Okay. Ile center ya kwa akili yako yenye inakusaidia kuregulate body temperature. Sawa. But it is not in itself an expression kwamba labda huyu mtu ni mgonjwa ama nini, hapana. So it just needs to know, why are you sweating too much? Is it hot with respect to you as an individual? If you are sweating and every other person is sweating in that place, then it is the environment that is hot. Okay. So in itself, inaweza onyesha kwamba ndio kuna shida kwamba temperature imeenda juu. So your body needs to, temperature ya ndani ya mwili yako iko juu. Now your body needs to lose some heat. Tunaita the latent heat of vaporization. Okay, latent heat of vaporization. Ingine ilikuwa gani? Sawa. Kama nimesahau tafadhali, yako sijajibu, unaweza niulize.
Yeah, I think you've handled all that were there.
Okay.
I'm just seeing from the chat section, I think they're saying this is the best. Mwingine hapa Alex anasema online lesson utadhani ni physical. Best ever. So I think
nitapeana namba ya M-Pesa, mweke kitu, sio kutuma tukisema salamu ya mdomo.
Catherine Lokuwom anasema the lesson has been very enjoyable. We are seeing all these comments. We are seeing everything. Let me check again if there's any round of those who are raised their hands up so that we pick. Encourage your colleagues to attend classes because there's someone named KUC1230. Unmute yourself. Techno KM5, you can unmute also. Infinix Hot 12 Play, unmute. KUC1110, you are unmuted. Ask the one who is.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello. Yes.
From today's lecture, we have concluded that alcohol and drugs can greatly affect our mental health. Now, maybe if I can ask for a clarification, how about for those who take it for luxurious purposes? Like, for example, a person, like, let's take, for example, a person can just decide that, let me go and take alcohol, maybe just to relax. Can it affect his or her mental health?
Okay. When I talked about alcohol, I said reduce, isn't it? So which means you can have alcohol as a social drink. It becomes a hazard when you overindulge. Sawa. Naelewa kwamba not all of you are biologists, so I cannot go deep into venye pombe inavunjwa na mwili, venye inafanya nini. But ukikunywa mingi, hapo ndio inakuwa mbaya. Okay? So you just you reduce. If it is okay, kama unaweza wacha, like myself, I don't. Even Bonia akunywi pombe, that is okay. But there are some wenye it is a social drink. Atafanya kazi yake na aende jioni akunywe chupa moja mbili na aende kwa nyumba. You can even never know kwamba huyu mtu huwa anakunywa. Lakini kuna wengine atakunywa, kesho hatakuja class, hataenda kazi, hatalipia watoto fees. Unaona? At the end of the day now, kukunywa hiyo pombe ndio inaharibu huyo mtu, inaharibu masomo, inaharibu familia, na inaharibu pesa. But if you are disciplined in a way, ujue kwamba nikikunywa chupa 2 ama 3 imenitosha, I go home. As an individual, hata hiyo pombe haitaharibu afya yako. Sawa sawa. So as a social drink, yes, but you overindulge, itakuharibia afya, itaharibu pesa, itaharibu masomo kama niko university, itaharibu ndoa kama umeoa, because bibi ataenda sababu utalewa, unakuja unalala chini ya kitanda. Okay, so
Yeah,
hiyo ndio inakuwa changamoto.
let them refer to the story of Marion Naipei yenye ilifanyika juzi. They know what happened when you overindulge. They know what happened to the lady. Wako na Telegram, wanajua hii maneno. There's a Shikuku Glanton, you are unmuted. Ask.
I wanted to ask that lecturer is saying that loneliness is a mental issue, isn't it? And I want to say that my father once a time is always lonely. And I also sit lonely. So is it a genetic disorder or what?
Okay.
Hey, Isaiah, unmute. When I click, just be attentive if you have raised your hand, so that when I click to unmute, you just unmute. We want 2-3 questions so that they are answered at the same time. Osike Emmanuel, we dealt with you. Anyone else? I'm trying to unmute. If you find a message, DVC ASA. Hey, mnajieka majina kweli. DVC ASA unmute. We are trying to check anyone who is muted. I'm clicking for you to unmute. We want to facilitate these classes as in the best way possible. I know last semester you had challenges, but we are up to support all of you to enjoy online classes. No one else is unmuting, Doc. Maybe you can just answer that one.
Okay, he asked if loneliness is genetic. It's not. But I will say kwamba inasemekana ukiona watoto, hii mchezo wanaita chapa hapana cha mama. When you look at young kids, the way they wakifanya mchezo yao, if the way ukitaka kujua baba ya huyu mtoto ako namna gani, unaangalia huyo mtoto, because mostly the kids will be emulating what they've seen. Okay, so it means you can inherit genes, but pia unaweza ukainherit tabia, sababu hiyo ndio tabia unaona kila wakati. Okay, we can talk this, mimi na wewe. I would prefer that we talk one on one. Ule mwenye amesema kwamba the father is lonely and yeye pia ako lonely, I'll wish to understand more. Okay, because I cannot tell you more hapa unless nimeelewa ni kwa nini, but utapata kwamba labda you are so close to your father so that what affects your father begins to affect you as an individual. Unaona? So there are things I cannot, because utaona ni kama, but from next week I'll be available in the university. You can come to ABC 310. ABC 310, ask for Dr. Mhongo, utanipata. Usiende ABB, kuja ABC 310. ABC 310. But mostly huwezi ukainherit loneliness, is not genetic. There is no gene that codes for loneliness. But ni kwamba tu you could be so close kwa huyo mtu, so ile kitu ina affect yeye pia inaanza kukuaffect wewe. If you find, for example, most ladies wenye wamekuwa brought up with a single mother, they'll be so bitter with the men generally. Like last semester, there is a student mwenye she had a problem, akakuja kwa ofisi hapo ABC 310. So when I asked her, oh, so you come from this part of the of Kenya, okay. So nikaanza akaniambia pana, I don't want anything to do with those people. Unaona? So ni mtu mwenye, when I talked to her more, nikaelewa kwamba the painful upbringing na ile kuteswa, aliona mama yake akiteswa na baba yake, ndio inafanya hataki hata mambo hata usimention jina ya baba yake, hataki kusikia. Unaona? So hiyo inatendeka kwamba such a lady anaona kwamba baba ni mbaya sababu baba alitesa mama. Likely such a lady pia ataona any other man ni mbaya. Unaona? So hiyo ndio inatendeka, lakini huwezi ukainherit bitterness. Hakuna gene, but it's just that the environment in which you are brought up ndio ilikuwa na hiyo bitterness. Ni kama ukiwa penye mvua inanyesha, si utanyeshewa? Ukiwa penye matope iko na unatembea, si hiyo matope itapaka kwa viatu? So it's mainly about where you are and the environment in which you are being brought up in. Okay? So huyo mwenye amesema hiyo swali, take my hiyo ABC 310, next week you can come in, ama email yangu iko mahali fulani, you can get it, let's get in touch, tuongee nielewe, nijaribu kuelewa zaidi. Okay? Bonnie, I think maybe we can stop there.
Yes, there's just someone who is asking for enrollment key for this unit. Enrollment key is KUC 1230 Jan 2026. The enrollment key is just, it's normally the course code followed by the session, like we are in January session. So it is JAN, capital everything. When we reach to May, it will be MAY. September, it will be SEP. So course code followed by the session, no space, capital letters. And then there's someone who was asking for YouTube link. Please, I shared the YouTube link, Anastasia. I shared the YouTube link. Anytime we find there's an overflow from the main channel, we share. There's a YouTube link and people are there. So don't say that we don't. The only thing we don't do is we don't record. We don't encourage laziness. Ukikosa class ni hivyo, inakupita hivyo, utajipanga na hapo. So that's what we do. Let me just check if there's any. Kuna mwingine amesema hapa help ikiingia atakununulia uji ya mtoto.
Well, sina okay, utanunua tu uji yangu. Sina mtoto mdogo wa kunywa uji.
Cha mtoto. Let me see. The spirit of chubby and fat body be inherited. Is it genetically inherited? Nafikiri anauliza hii unene daktari. Inakuwa inherited ama namna gani?
Well, it is not inherited. What usually happens ni kwamba ukiona watu kwa familia wamenona, inamaanisha the diet inaenda kwa hiyo familia, because most likely wanakula from a common cooking. Unaona? So hao watu wakianza kufanya mazoezi, wakianza kufanya nini, utaona tu wanapunguza mwili. So it is more of a lifestyle. It's more of the environment ile wanagrow ndani yake. It is true, unaweza fikiria kwamba it is inherited, but it is not. It's just because hiyo chakula inapikwa chakula mara moja, kama ni chakula iko na mafuta, kama ni chakula ni chips wanakula, wote wanakula. So wote wanapata a common effect from a common source. Okay? Because we know ukikuwa na watoto twins na uwaseparate, hata kama ni identical twins, uwaseparate, huyu aishi kwa diet fulani, huyu aishi kwa diet fulani, hao watoto wata end up kuwa na miili ambayo ni tofauti, kumaanisha kwamba then it is more of the environment but not the genes. Sawa sawa.
Maybe the last one, Doc, then we close.
Yes.
Is being an introvert a personal decision?
No, it's not a personal decision. Mostly it's about upbringing. Okay, mostly ni upbringing. Ndio maana huwa inasemekana kwamba I will say this with a lot of naelewa ni asubuhi na wengi wenyu ni actually in this class kuna watoto wenye wananiita uncle. I know of around 3 or 4. Kuna wengine wanatoka huko nyumbani. So these are people wenye I would want to be a very good example to them. Ukiwa mtoto mdogo, mtoto kama anaenda choo, hata kama niyo haja kubwa, don't be shouting at them. Wacha wamalize. Okay? Because anytime you shout at them, they hold it back. Na hiyo ndio huwa inafanya sa mtu anaanza kuwa introvert. Let them finish. Akitaka kuongea kitu, wacha aongee. Bora akianza kuongea sema nyamaza. Unaona? But when mtu anakuwa brought up in an environment, hata akisema kitu ya upuzi, watu wanawacha aongee amalize. Those people learn to express themselves. So hiyo kuwa introvert, kuwa extrovert is mostly a sign of the environment in which you are brought in. For the kids, kabla hajaanza kuongea, akifanya kitu wacha amalize. Akikojoa wacha amalize. Akienda haja kubwa, hata kama anaenda mahali penye hatakikani, wacha amalize. But the moment you begin kuanza kuambia, to shout at them, they, instead of finishing what they are doing, they begin to hold it back. Hiyo ndio inafanya hata kuongea, kujiexpress, and ataanza they will grow na hiyo fear. Then sasa hiyo mambo ya kuwa, because as an introvert hautoi maneno ya, unakuwa ni kama you don't express yourself, mostly is because of the environment in which such a person was brought up. Mara mingi mtu mwenye amekuwa brought up either na stepmother or step parent, hivyo, because hapo ndio hiyo fight inaanzia. No. So it's nothing as a personal decision. It's mostly because of the environment in which the individual was brought up. But uzuri ya hiyo ni kwamba it's something that you can be helped. Utoke ndani yake. You can be helped. Uache kuwa introvert. You learn to express yourself more.
Doc, I don't know if this question was answered.
Yes.
It was about, the other one was, can sex relieve stress?
Yes, stress. That one I answered, yes.
There's now another one that is coming in.
Yeah.
Does lack of sex increase stress? They are related. I think
very.
Yeah. Because so sex utakuwa na stress ama.
Okay. Ni at their age, and I don't blame, because most of these guys are 18, 19, hapo. So at your age, you tend to glorify sex, because, and that's why unapata wengi wao sasa, especially wanaume, wanaanza kutumia hiyo the blue tab, because wanafikiria is a sign of heroism. The longer you last, the more of a hero you are. Okay? The reality is, it cannot cause stress hata ukikosa. But for your case, sababu mnatakana mupige story kwa room, kwamba nilienda 4 rounds, alitoka hapa akilia, you know? So that's why mnajiweka hiyo stress sasa ya kutaka kuperform. Okay? So the reality is, and we'll tackle that when we begin looking at the concepts of safe sex and everything. We'll look at even you can remind me, muniulize now, the blue tab and everything. But the reality is, it cannot cause. I said, the best way, usichukue kwamba ngono ionyeshe unapendwa ama unapenda. Okay? Wacha mapenzi itamatike kwa ngono. Let sex be a culmination of love. But let not sex be a sign of what? Of love. But it cannot cause stress, and it can also not relieve stress. But love can relieve stress. Lack of love can cause stress. Because love, if you are in love, it just means your social health iko sawa. You can interact with the people well. And if you are loved well, kuna hormones, which I'll talk about tukiendelea. Kuna watu wenye, because huwa unaona tu msichana ama mvulana anakatiana na mtu anamsumbua, but akipata tu anze kukatiana na jamaa mwingine, na unaona tu msichana anakuwa mrembo tu mara moja, nashangaa, ai, kwani huyo Irene kumbe alikuwa tu mrembo hivi, just because amepata someone mwenye anampenda differently. So there is a hormone, the hormone of love inatoka, na hiyo inafanya ngozi inakuwa mzuri, kila kitu kwa mwili yake inaanza hata hajipaki mafuta, hata hakuli chips, anakula tu very cheap foods, but because of the love, sasa anakuwa tu ametulia, na ule jamaa mwenye alimsumbua anaanza kujaribu kurudi tena, unaona. So sex is not mambo na stress na sex, no, but love inatoa stress. Okay, love inatoa stress. Tutaongelea hiyo maneno tukiendelea.
I think Doc, you've gone beyond your target.
Yeah.
Umesema ufunge 8:30, naona
Nitaka
already.
8:30, yeah.
Yeah,
30
half
minutes
an hour
more,
past.
which is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see any other question from my side. I'm only seeing compliments from the students on how the lesson has been interesting. I think maybe it's now up to you to make a decision on what's next.
Okay. Asante. Nashukuru sana Boni for the support. Asante wanafunzi pia for the compliments. Next now, again, it will be on Monday. We look at public health. Tumalize hiyo, and then we slowly now enter into, I'm sure wengi wenyu mnangojea HIV. We begin looking at HIV, look at STIs. Within 5 lectures, maybe tutakuwa tunamaliza. Okay. So thank you. We'll keep interacting. This week I'm not around, but next week I'll be available at the university. ABC 310, in case you have a question, you have a challenge, you can meet me there. Otherwise, thank you. I'll stop sharing. Then Boni, the other team, maybe you can unaweza maliza hii maneno. Asante.
Okay, the link, thank you, Doc. From the compliments, I think the students are happy. We only encourage 100% attendance. Naona bado you've not reached the number that we are anticipating, but for our start, it's okay.
Yeah.
The link for this lesson is the same. This is a recurring link. So hata tukisahau kutuma, just click on this link. It will get on Monday, you'll get to class. So whichever way, tukisahau kutuma, just click on the link. Then also, those who are asking for the notes, tumesema vizuri, we don't share notes. The notes will be on the LMS.
Yeah.
You'll find them there. Just log on to the LMS. Utazipata hapo. Usingoje ati mtu anakutumia, kwani anakutumia kama nani? Ziko hapo. You have equal opportunity to access the notes. Just log in and access the notes. If you have challenges with logging in, come to ABD 004. Then you will be assisted. Those who have challenges in logging in. Please, let's not miss out these things. When you are here, mostly we join to support you, apart from the lecture. After the lecture, we also support you to check if you have any technical challenges. If you have any technical challenges, just come, we check. From the chat, I can't see anyone with a technical challenge. I'm only seeing attendance. Sorry. And we've said for the attendance, we will have attendance marked next week. For today, we'll just use the one that Zoom is capturing. Zoom is actually saving everything that you are typing. Yeah, we can always have that. So don't worry. Hata maswali zingine tutazichukua na hapo. The things you are typing, those questions, I think will be shared with the lecturer, and then the lecturer will address in the next class. So I think that's all for today. That's all for today. See you next class. Next class will be, I think, a bigger class that again we really manage will be KUC 1230. Make sure you also enroll to that. KUC 1250. Those are the university-wide courses. The rest of the courses will be assisted at the department level. You'll be told which one you are taking, which one you are not taking. But all of you are going to take this unit and also 1250. Usikose uanze kutafutana cut marks, usikose uanze kutafutana kulienda aje, you missed out. Sijui mwingine hadi anasema alikuwa na aliua, sijui parent alikufa. You know, you cannot say your parent died a whole semester. Have you been in funeral for a whole semester? So let's be genuine. Let us know what brought us around. And let's see how we can assist each other. But don't come up with some excuses that don't really hold water. Mzazi akifa, yes, it's a calamity, we understand. But mzazi haizi kufa semester mzima. Useme ulikosa cuts zote. Ama haukuwahi hata enroll kwa course yoyote. Those who are normally logging in with the video on, please, I've said time and again, just have your videos off. Mna disrupt wengine. Mwingine anakuja ako semi-naked, anajieka kwa screen, na saa hiyo lecturer anafunza. It's not good, and we don't want to start picking up fights. Tunataka to enjoy. Let's just enjoy. Ukiwa na maswali unauliza. Time ikifika ya raise up mkono, you raise up, we unmute some of you. We cannot unmute everyone, of course, because of the numbers. But at least you will hear your colleagues also speak. Unaweza angukia hapo uulize swali. Kama huwezi uliza na hapo kwa chat. We are always on the chat section. Naangalia ukifanya nini? Hiyo maswali lecturer anaangalia akijibu. Anaweza jibu direct ama ajibu through the lesson. That is it for today. Let's meet same time, same place. Thank you.